Welcome back, guys, to day one of IEM Gyeonggi. Now we're getting ready to go back into our first best of 3 of the day. It's Samsung versus Immortals, who just lost that game one. So Samsung really turned on the heat for these guys, and we'll see if Immortals is able to bounce back as we get ready to go into pick and ban for game 2.
And we're all warming up, Achilles. The broadcast is warming up. The fans are streaming in. They're excited to see this Samsung versus Immortals series. It was a bit shaky there at the start for everyone involved, but we're getting there. We're sticking the landing. And Samsung look really impressive. They've clearly woken up from the first series where they were desperately poor, early game much better. And then, when people talk about, international matches, Korean teams versus other regions, they always talk about you give an inch and then the Korean team just kind of puts you to the sword, famously with SKT. Samsung did the same thing. They were so great at snowballing what was at first a small lead. It got bigger. They made great map movements, and the game was over very, very early compared to, their grinding victory over Vega Squadron.
Yeah, it didn't really matter the mechanical prowess of the Immortals members by the end there. They did their damnedest. That last fight was pretty much the Hail Mary that they needed.
But in another game where the gold's even, they might win the game from that particular engage.
Yeah.
But when you're 11,000 gold behind, even the best engage ended up just being, a non-factor in the game ending from there.
Yeah, so we'll see how they are going to approach this draft going back into game 2. Because, of course, if you guys missed it, Talia making a return, a very surprising return in the mid lane for Crown. If that is that going to be a contested pick going forward here for Samsung? Do they want to keep bringing that one out?
I mean, contested is definitely. Contested implies both teams want to play it.
Sorry.
Who knows how much Pobelter has played of Talia, or any mid lane has played of Talia in the last few months.
Probably not much.
Maybe not contested, but certainly it's now a consideration. I want to see it again on the Rift. I want to see this happen more, because I want to learn more about the Talia pick. Because, hey, when every lane's winning, Talia look pretty amazing.
Yeah, I have to wonder whose idea it was, whether it was Trace here, the new coach of Samsung,
or
if Crown has been practicing that one and says, you know what, coach, let me play it.
If you're new to LCK, if you've just been watching international events, you don't know much about Trace. The guy liked to think out of the meta. Graves top, that was a Trace innovation. Was an AD Rengar player way back at the start of his career, so I'm hoping it was him. I'm hoping we can attribute some of these out-of-the-box picks, and I want to see more of that from Samsung.
Yep. They'll start teaching his players, like, okay, when you see the Ash arrow, you flash into it. But let's go ahead and get into the pick and ban here for Game 2. Samsung now swapping over to the blue side. And the first ban's going to be Ash.
Draft will be really, really interesting here. The big story so far has been the mid lane pinch. Ryze, Syndra, Victor. It feels like those are the really big mid lane picks. I'm skipping over one as well, but I'll get there eventually. Orianna, of course, was the contested pick, and then LeBlanc is, of course, the fourth one. So we came into this event knowing that Ryze, Syndra, LeBlanc would see very little play. It's been Samsung being forced to ban Syndra on blue side, so I'm actually surprised to see Immortals ban it, because so consistently, Crown hasn't wanted to opt into that pick.
Thresh as well, going to get banned away. Only did have a good mechanical showing on that pick, but all in all, the snowball was too hard from Samsung. So Thresh couldn't make enough picks. It couldn't do enough to help Immortals get back into that game, but still some respect being shown. And LeBlanc, of course, going to be banned away here by Immortals.
So if you're Samsung, you know the last ban will be Ryze. Ryze is the other power pick, so you kind of can play around with your third ban here. Unless they very much don't want to give away Ryze and they don't want to play it, then I just can't see. It should not be a Ryze ban here, theoretically. That should be an easy champion for Crown to play. He's always played it. Hell, Cuvée was known as a Ryze top player once upon a time, so Ryze is definitely a pick that's synonymous with Samsung, and that's why you see they go for this extended bench. Cassiopeia was available, but not taken into Orianna by Crown in Game 1. They're banning away Cassie, and they're basically saying, give me that Ryze, give it to me right now. And let's see if they take it, if it's available, because surely Immortals have to ban it, then Lee Sin's available for Ambition.
Yeah, and as well as the Victor in mid lane
for
Crown. So, yeah, well, that's true. I mean, they could take the Orianna themselves, but I feel like, with Victor going in, it was the first ban from Immortals in the last game, and as you said, there is the Ryze. Could just be Victor coming up after this pick, as Lee Sin will be the first snatch up here for Ambition.
And this puts a pinch onto Immortals, because while Pobelter is a known Victor player, he was kind of the NA Crown in terms of playing a lot of Victor in a region where Victor wasn't that popular. You know that if you don't take it, Samsung will take it. So that's why the mind game here is you now have to take Victor. Victor is a safe blind pick. Victor is strong in the 623 meta, but drafting your mid laner blind, even if it's Victor, takes away options on the red side, especially in a world where top lane counter pick really doesn't mean anything. Waiting for last pick to take your Maokai into Poppy doesn't really change the draft. It's probably going to be tanks in top, and if you're forced to take your mid lane blind, you lose some other options.
Ooh, well, we see the hover over the Fiora. I don't think we're going to see that one locked in. Will be Zyra here for Ole in the support role, and looks like it will just be Orianna coming in third game in a row for Pobelter.
So now it's Victor or Taliyah. Victor makes the most sense. It's the champion that Crown has played the most. 31% of his career games, almost a third of his career games are on that Victor. But if they're actually holding it longer, suddenly the chance of Taliyah or a new pick goes up because they've already shown that Taliyah, Maokai predictably, is taken. Interesting that Samsung takes Maokai over Poppy.
Poppy that's available, yeah. It's really odd that she hasn't been prioritized more so here for Kuve.
Now, this particular game, maybe you look at the other side and see double AoE magic damage wombo, and you're like, okay, the price of the Vengeful Maelstrom has gone up. Suddenly that's a very useful ability to reduce AoE damage, but consistently Samsung hasn't seemed super interested in the Poppy pick, which we thought the Poppy and Nautilus were the two top tier. Seems like Maokai is an argument for being top tier as well.
Yeah. And the Jhin coming in for Ruler, so that, you know, that pick that had eluded him for so very long during the summer split, being that Ashe and Silverbot will go in for the Jhin this time around. Looks like Flame might just lock in the Poppy, so now going to be looking for that ADC or that jungle. Looks like they're going to hold off on the jungle. Last pick that one for Immortals. See the final picks from Samsung. So Poppy and Varus locked in, so our second Varus ADC.
So suddenly they're leaving jungle for last pick, which to me suggests maybe we'll see one of those other junglers that's been around but not contested much, and a pick that we know is strong, and that's the Hecarim. I'd actually really like to see Hecarim on the side of Immortals, given the draft they have and given how strong Hecarim is at power farming. Before we get to that point, let's look at Samsung closing out their draft. The Taliyah once again against the Orianna makes some sense given what we saw in the last game.
The MF.
And I get my request there. Now he can just swap over to Victor and be happy, or maybe get frisky, because we shouldn't talk about hovers, but I think Taliyah will be the way forward.
Yeah, I mean, it worked so well for them in the last game. I mean, you know, Cuve with the TPs actually coming through this time. The Weaver's walls were always on point by Crown, except for, you know, that time that he locked himself into the
wall
Raptor
itself,
pit,
I mean, that was about the ride, not the wall.
It was a great wall. It was a beautiful wall. Never seen a better wall in my life.
Man, Taliyah being back in the meta opens up some sick memes, Achilles.
It really does. But
who was paying for those walls in the first game? As far as I could tell, it was
Immortals. Immortals paid for the wall
Wow, they got them to pay for the wall.
Yep.
Nice.
Somehow I don't think that's going to happen outside the game. But Rek'Sai, so no big surprising pick here for the jungle. Just going to go back to that Rek'Sai, leaving us in some suspense there for a while. But in the end, it's fairly expected from these squads. I mean, Dardoch's been playing, you know, a very good game on this Rek'Sai, so it makes sense that they want to come back to this. But not showing some variance might be a little bit questionable.
I mean, the Rek'Sai's fine. It fits the comp. It's a strong pick, but it doesn't really vindicate the last pick status, right? They didn't get frisky. They didn't go for something crazy. They went for the Rek'Sai again. Samsung were very practiced against Rek'Sai in the first game of the day. Let's see if they can adjust that at all here.
That is the question as we get ready to get onto the Rift here for Game 2. So Immortals do or die time. So they don't want to end up in that elimination match at the end of the day. So a win here will keep their hopes alive. They can send Samsung into that match. Flame, what a handsome guy.
He's smiling still. Big smile there from Flame.
He's like, I know what to do. I just look into the camera as it moves past me. He's like, I've been here before.
Not that many times, funnily enough.
That's true. It's been a while.
Didn't play at all in summer.
Yep, he's readjusted to the LCK scene. But all right, let's go ahead and get loaded up for Game 2. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Entering in Game 2, Samsung now swapping over to the blue side. Immortals on the red, running a fairly similar composition with the addition of that Varus coming in.
Here's an interesting fact, maybe more interesting to me than other people, but if you think about it, Kilios, Flame didn't play in summer So I don't know if he's ever actually played at Sangami Stadium before. In spring we were back in Yongsan.
Yeah, no, he
So
hasn't.
this is actually his debut at OGN's nice new stadium, which opened in April.
Okay, nice. We have Flame's debut. We'll have Piglet's debut here tomorrow.
That's true. Piglet coming back to Korea after so long.
I'm expecting that audience, the audience for that game, to be
It is still 10 a.m.
pretty.
on
Well,
a weekday.
I don't think it's the first match of the day.
Even the second, right?
Might be the second or third. But either way, I think the Piglet fans will probably be coming out. See how Rainover's fandom is here as well. I imagine it's gotten some growth to it.
It certainly had a lot of growth to get. He did struggle back when he was on Incredible Miracle. Probably looked at all the fandom that Smeb was getting, a little bit of jealousy. No slouch in North America, obviously, and Europe for Rainover.
Uni as well, and now he's got that SKT bump to
I mean, no one knew who
carry
Rooney
him.
was. I hadn't played a professional game in Korea. That's why it's so intriguing. What does a player who's completely learned to play overseas show in Korea? Because the only other example we have is Crown, and he turned out pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's done quite a good job. Ole's like almost there. He's like almost at that point, but he's not playing in Korea like full on.
Well,
So I don't know if it really
sure,
counts.
Sure. You have to have some leaps of logic to make that one work.
Yeah. I'm really good at that, leaps of logic.
Play-by-play caster.
Just you know, just keeping it consistent.
Don't stop believing, Achilles.
I love that song. It's one of my Norebang favorites.
Norebang is the Korean equivalent of karaoke, but more talking about the room salon than the get in front of a big group of people version of it.
Definitely not that. Not what I was implying, but see a little trade coming out here. Both of them going to go pretty even on that. But Crown being shoved away from the waves. Going to get Pobelter back in here a little bit faster. You can see Dardoch waiting for a cheeky gank. He's got to tunnel in. Gonna be looking for that flash. Can't find it. Gets the ghost, though. So they'll at least walk away with one summoner spell burned out by Crown.
Yeah, the last time in the meta, it wasn't Ghost Flash, right? It was Flash Teleport that was the big take on Talia. Now, Ghost into walking towards a wall gives you that passive as well. So, ability to escape is very, very good for the Talia.
Oh,
Crown's
wow.
low.
Yeah, Pobelter. Does he
Might
go
have to
for
flash
this one?
here.
Oh, well, look at that. That's just going to be Dardoch coming over the wall. Snipes him with the Prey Seeker. A nice first blood picked up by him. Will find Ambition on Burrows. Get a little bit of damage in, but won't be able to find much else there. But nice and a very swift first blood picked up here by Immortals.
It was basically a solo kill. Dardoch got the final kill with flashing over it, but crucially, Crown flashed as well. So as he knows summoners and taking a lot. Listen's visiting bot.
Yeah, Cody-san's really far forward. It's going to be the flash. Can he get it out? No, it's going to be the Deadly Flourish. Connects, and now Ambition going in, but the exhaust is there from Ole to dissuade the Lee Sin from pushing any further. So an answering kill coming through very quickly by Samsung. 1-1 on the board.
And now we see, okay, Immortals are capable of making those aggressive moves even after losing the previous game. We're going to finally see a replay. Crown just kind of opted into taking more damage. Good stuff from Pobelter. He could have flashed himself, but it was Dardoch. And actually, yeah, so it wasn't a prediction. It was just a straight line as more fighting in bot lane.
Yeah, Ruler and Core JJ getting aggressed on by Dardoch. He's just trying to keep up the pressure across the map. Won't be able to find the kill, though.
That was hilarious because he literally flashed away from the
Straight
ball,
into the
straight into a Prey Seeker. That's when you feel bad. You're like, really?
Like, why didn't I flash diagonally down the lane? I guess, well, technically by the angle, it's straight down, but would have actually got him out to safety. But either way, a good pickup by Dardoch.
I mean, he feels hard done by, but literally he overstayed, so deserved to be put to the sword in one way or the other.
Yeah, that was definitely his own doing.
But now we get to see a bit more information, because, okay, no summoners, effectively solo killed in the mid lane. Can the Talia still be the force that we saw in Game 1? Snowball champion that looked great when lane's winning, but we're still looking for more and more information about Talia in its current state in 623.
We have a very small sample size.
Absolutely.
So we can't really just say that she's the best thing ever. Not quite yet, but we'll see. Pobelter now with this blue buff is going to be wreaking havoc on that Talia. Shut the turn down yet again. It's a double door and start, and looks like Crown's going to have to go back yet again. So this will open up for a good denial to come through for Pobelter. That wave into the turret. Cody-san having a bit of a hard time in this bottom lane. A lot of harass here with the Jhin at a safe range, as well as that Misfortune. punish not just the Zyra, but the Varus as well. He's up in CS though. But has to be cautious that he doesn't get another visit from Ambition into that bottom lane.
Ambition doesn't want to overstay. Obviously wanted to get some bonus gold, killing all the little Krugs, but Orianna's coming up as well. They're trying to pinch on Ambition, but...
It's a hard thing to do when you're playing Lee Sin.
Exactly.
So, won't be able to find it. Meanwhile, Ruler and Core JJ just fearlessly walking up on Ole and Cody Sun. You can see chip damage coming through, making it rain. And they're just zoning off the Varus and trying to swing this CS back in favor of Ruler.
Misfortune support obviously has been seen as a counter pick to Zyra, so to some degree, they feel like they have the tech in bottom lane to win the 2v2.
Oh, this is where things get interesting. Ambition is level 6, Dardoch is not. Get that Dragon's Rage, trying to kick him into Crown, but he's just going to go ahead and peel back.
And the damage, getting the damage to register on the second half of the Lee Sin Q is super hard against a Rek'Sai because they are burrowed, then the unburrow will cancel the damage.
Yep. And Dardoch's been pretty on point with that so far. First 2 games.
Everyone's got a long sword, Achilles.
Yep. It's a lot of long swords.
They come in pairs, apparently.
Just gotta go for the double. So Cody Sun, opting into the double longsword, not going for that tier. He hasn't had the gold all at once to buy it, so that's gonna set him behind quite a bit.
Took the shockwave in a single burst rotation. Hasn't turned his magic resist, null magic mantle into anything more than that, but Abyssal Scepter very clearly will be the build once again.
Yeah, I mean he did this. This was his first, purchase as well in the first game. Held on to that null magic mantle for quite some time.
Yeah, he was taking it over magic resist, which seems reckless or questionable, but the reason why he's doing it is that to get the trade patterns you want, you kind of have to fish for things like the seismic shove. The E doesn't have the longest cooldown, so you end up taking, just over the course of the lane, a lot of QW harass. Yeah, so getting the magic resist early is actually pretty important, as you can see why this Jhin Misfortune lane is so annoying, because such long range on the Make It Rain, and it's Deadly Flourish setup.
Yep. And pretty soon with level 6 coming in for a Ruler, that's going to be that combo into a Curtain Call or maybe into a Bullet Time.
Yeah, I mean, Misfortune Ashe maybe is slightly superior, but the mechanics behind the level 6 spike here are pretty clear for the Jhin Misfortune as well.
Yeah. This bottom lane's going quite well so far for Ruler and Core JJ. Cody Sun, the rookie 80 carry. If there's somebody that you wanted to target, it would definitely be this bottom lane of Immortals that has had a limited amount of time together.
Would have said the same thing about Ruler, though.
Oh, Ole kind of flash forward, gets a lot of damage on the Ruler, but it's like maybe the communication actually wasn't there this time around. Well, Juke got that Deadly Flourish, but yeah, Dardoch and Cody Sun both not going in. On top of that, once again, just going to be a flash down for the Zyra, which makes her considerably more vulnerable.
Yeah, that was definitely a complete disconnect between jungle and support. The support flashed before Dardoch even moved out of the brush.
Yep, oh, there's the bullet time. Cody Sun gonna make it out of there, but has to use the flash and the heal. But now Ambition comes in, lands the Sonic Wave.
Which way do you juke, Achilles?
That's, puts him in a really big catch-22 scenario right there. And Ambition finds the second kill for Samsung. Got some pressure coming through onto the turret. Don't have much of a wave, so they'll just get a little bit of damage in. But Samsung, yet again, making moves.
Cody Sun was just in hell there because there was so many different wide AoE things being channeled that he had to get funneled anywhere. It was closer to his enemies. Lee Sin was still in the area. Good stuff from Samsung.
Yeah. Poor Cody. So it's been a rough start for him so far.
Am I the only one really upset that we don't have Immortal Massacre? That would have been a cool name.
Yeah, that would have been.
I mean, Immortal Flame obviously is very good too, but Immortal Massacre would have been something. Perhaps too descriptive. And this is just, where exactly do you go? You're forced to juke down, otherwise you would have taken the final curtain call.
Yeah, there's just nothing you can do. You can't discredit him for that. I mean, he did everything that he possibly could have done to make it out of there alive, but there's just too many things being thrown at him. Eventually, one's going to stick.
Top lane battle is wholly uninteresting, as 623 has proven to be. Now that the Jaces and the Cannons have been forced out of the meta, everyone's tank. Tank.
Can't wait for more of that Nautilus poppy top lane. At least that can lead to some hilarious exchanges where you get the Keeper's Verdict and then get the Dredge line in.
See, the good thing about tanks being the top lane is at least you get sick TP flanks.
Yeah, that's true. Ooh, ambition. He noped the hell out of there.
Lee Sin's funny. But yeah, at least you get sick TP players, but you just don't. The secret with the 1v1 is that the OGN observers, they're used to there being action in the top lane. We don't get any more of that. Now it's just ignore the top lane and be happy when they show up for TPs. Poppy, Maokai, and Nautilus make things happen in team fights, but not on the lane.
Yeah. Crown coming down. Soon the corrupting arrow thrown out. Core JJ gets caught up by that one. The tendrils won't find their way on a ruler. Now still sniffing around. He went through the wall. Oh, well, just got a seismic shove him in. Bullet time, and then it's going to be the first kill picked up for Crown. Ole didn't stand a chance.
And it's really cool to see Crown adjust his playstyle from the Crown we think of. So when we think of Crown, it's wave clear into really good either solo kills or team fighting, playing the likes of the Victor especially. Very different mindset for Talia, but it's heartening to see Crown, guy who we're putting up that mid lane tier list, adjust super well as Cody-san. All these shots hit, he will die.
Yep, the last one almost did it. Mission can't get on top of him. Has to worry about Dardoch. Just shoving him back. Does he want to go in for it? No. He's just going to go ahead and peel back. Uses that blast cone to jump over the wall. But yeah, things are starting to go pretty well for Samsung here.
It's good to see, as I said, it's capping off that point. Good to see Crown still equally adept on the wave clearers as he is now on the roamers. And Talia definitely in that roaming camp.
You can see 3-1 on the board, about 800 gold in the lead here for Samsung. So still nothing crazy, but this is how it started in game one, and then it started really snowballing out of control.
Yeah, 12 minutes in game one, you're like, okay, Samsung's, looking good, and then 23 minutes, the game was over. Yeah. So it escalated quickly.
And you have to be concerned for Cody-san here. 0-2-0 on this Varus, down almost 20 CS. Had that late tier purchase, just got his first serrated Dirk. He's not going to be pumping out damage for another 8 minutes here. By the time he's able to farm up and really complete some of these items.
Ezreal was an available choice, would have been a safer choice than the Jhin. Sorry, than the Varus, my apologies, but Varus is all about dodging lane and wave clearing, but there's been so much attention that now it's really in the hole, and that's why Dardoch has to camp.
Oh, throw out the arrow. Dardoch is coming in, rolling down to half HP the full time, working down Ole, but here comes Ambition on the backside. Gets a Sonic Wave in onto Cody-san, trying to finish him off. Ruler still managing to stay alive for so long. There it is, the passive from Flame is finally able to take him out. That's going to be 3 kills picked up by Immortals, looking for more. Cube TP'd in, but he might have made a mistake. Goes low, but they can't finish him off. Immortals, 3 members low. Do they want to stick around? Crown is still full HP and has that blue buff. It looks like he and Cube are going to think better of this and heal back a little bit, so that should be the first turret of the game going over to Immortals. No, never mind. They're going to go back in. Weaver's Wall thrown out. Get the damage off. Delaying them off of that turret. Flash away from Belter. Doesn't want to get locked up. Goes in by Flame. Gets the stun, but Cube is actually able to finish off Oriana. 2 kills picked up. Now make it 3 right here. Cube with a triple kill. It's kind of riding off the coattails of Crown as he works through them, but what a turnaround from Samsung and Immortals. That is just crippling after such a huge win.
You just consider this fight, so it opens up really good for Immortals. Ambition tries to be aggressive, but he leaves Ruler to basically die. Sure, it takes a while, but the big story here is that Crown doesn't find a space to channel the ultimate. He's not sure where the fight will go, what will be a suicide engage with the wall, so he just holds the wall. He waits, and then you're like, okay, 3 members are dead. Samsung have made a big mistake. Why didn't Crown come in? I was waiting for the replay to just judge whether Crown had missed anything, but then the fight continues, and that's the big story. Goes for the Weaver's Wall, and suddenly 3 members are kind of stuck, and one of them's Flame. He's in the front trying to eat as much harass as possible, but with double summoners up, Crown stays aggressive, and they get baited into diving Crown. He's still got his summoners. All the other summoners were invested to kill the first 3, and then it ends up being a delayed 3 for 3 that should never have happened.
Yeah, that absolutely should have been the first turret going over to Immortals, or at least just the 3 kills and then the walk away. Instead, they lose their own turret, so the first brick gold goes over to Samsung. Trying to find a pick onto Ambition to get that corrupting arrow down, but he's able to dash over the wall to the awaiting Core JJ.
He's in trouble.
Yeah, he might be. See, Dardoch doesn't have the tunnel, so Core JJ might be able to kite his way out. Actually, now, we're going to try to turn this one around. Cody-san, Sonic Wave not going to land on the him. It gets on the Dardoch. Looks like Ambition doesn't want to follow that one through. And all of the curtain call shots will be blocked up by that Rek'Sai. But now, mid lane wide open. bottom lane tier 2 as well, potentially in danger. Samsung, they're just pressuring around the map.
Yeah, this is a full court press. I guess you could say a half court, but it's the mid and bot lane that are getting pushed super hard. Pabelta second. Will wave clear eventually, but loses over 75% of the HP there. They're trying to turn this into a blue buff steal as well. Samsung not taking the pressure off. Let's see where the blue goes.
Yeah, it's going to go over to Ambition. Gets the Dragon's Rage into the smite. He'll be able to walk away. Dardoch going back forward for core JJ, but just can't find him. Deadly Flourish will root him down, but Curtain Carl already used, so Ruler can't try to follow through for the kill. But overall, Samsung, they're just inching their way ahead in these last couple fights.
We should consider...
Oh! Piercing arrow, not enough.
Anything?
In the plant. Oh, not going to get him. No Leandries on Ole, but there it is. Dardoch comes in yet again with a Praise Seeker. It's a NA sniper.
Yeah, and Praise Seeker does count as anything, apparently. Not often it gets the snipe kill with no AD, but the 100 damage or so was enough. Consider where the kills went. You know, one thing to take into account is was a triple kill for the Maokai, and with the fact that it's Varus AD carry, an AD carry that can be outscaled by tank items really well, you know, very much early to mid-game AD carry, suddenly Cuvée, he's got his armor together. He's getting super, super tanky. And unless we're talking about a 6-item Orianna, specifically with Void Staff, getting past the front line looks tricky for Immortals.
Yeah, that it does. This is going to be a bit of a difficult one. They're not going to go for it. Actually, they find Ambition. They will pop him. Pobelter gets him with a shockwave. Nicely lined up, and the wraparound from Cody Sun and Oli just not spotted out. There's no wards in the jungle, so Samsung had no way of knowing that that was coming.
The double ult doesn't get them any other objective, Achilles. They have the numbers advantage for the Drake, but Samsung still have good shove, good wave clear, still have all ults available. So if they can't turn this into a Mountain Drake, probably, you know, it's never ideal to pass over a kill with no recourse, but no extra objective to start a snowball for Immortals.
Yeah, I don't think you can go for it. The Weaver's Wall, the Bullet Time, and the Curtain Call, all three there, plus the TP from Cuvée. Well, maybe not. They're going to go for it, actually. The recall did come through from Crown, so...
This is a good setup here. They've got Maokai in top. He has TP, but Poppy's in base. Could have teleported over. They had the push in mid lane as well, so good stuff for Immortals. They do get that objective. Sure, it's a minute delayed. They'll take some turret damage, but if they don't lose top turret, which isn't a guarantee necessarily, then it's pretty good stuff for Immortals.
Yeah, Flame's getting his way back there. Looks like he will arrive just in time to stop this one. There's not the Keeper's Verdict, just going to find a couple of minions. It's going to be helpful either way. Pobelter, oh! Still gets hit by the Deadly Flourish, but the shield was there just in time.
And the heal from Cody Sun as well.
Oh, and it's just not enough. He's not going to take him out. So doesn't have to worry about that Deathfire touch finishing him off. He will make it out alive, but barely so. But now this mid lane turret is going to be a bit vulnerable. Ambition has the Dragon's Rage available. Could go in for a kick to knock out that Varus, which would almost certainly spell death for him. Has the flash available, but no heal.
Desperately want get an answering turret. Will be a bit against the run of play, as Immortals have been making the plays recently.
Weaver's Wall thrown out. That's going to be enough for them to force their way in. Dardoch the only one next to the turret. They finished that one off, so second turn on the board for them. Immortals not yet able to find one. And now we're looking at just about a 4,000 gold lead.
Ambition looking around top lane. Flame's already very tanky. Turret's low, so maybe just looking to split the difference between a kill and taking this turret.
Be a little bit bold, but he's waiting for the rest of the members to come up. Dardoch is waiting in the wings, as is Ole.
They know what's up. Obviously, a kill is always ideal, but the turret is the real big objective they're trying to focus on here, and they brought Ruler up as well.
Yeah, the Keeper's Verdict here from Flame, and the turret will go down, and Immortals are just going to have to peel back. So Samsung just trying to bleed this team dry as best as they can. They're doing a pretty good job of it so far.
They got all three out of turrets. The standing gold very much has been claimed by Samsung, and this is worrying for Immortals because suddenly the Weaver's Walls can be so much more aggressive. Suddenly, Core JJ can do what he did so well at Worlds and light up the red side jungle of Immortals. So 3 turrets down and globals in the double global in the case of the Weaver's Wall and the Maokai means that the playmaking can really start to begin for Samsung.
Yeah. It's still a ways out here for Cody. He can't, clear those backline minions. As the Yomo's Ghostblade, the tier's still stacking up. Not sure how many stacks he has on that, but he has to be a ways away from hitting that 750 mark, and even then doesn't even have the pickaxe in the inventory. Not sure how much gold he has. As you can see right there. Okay, he's got 300. So yeah, he is very far away from having that man immune.
Then what does the man immune really accomplish when specifically Maokai is so far ahead? The lethality, you know, I guess it'll start to scale, but that's about all you can really say there. So two and a half items away from really being relevant is Cody-san, and then just by virtue of the champion, I don't even know if the items will be enough to really allow this Varus to have an impact in team fights.
Yeah. I mean, just getting that, you know, that chip damage that we just saw in mid, like, you know, pre-fight, that's going to be the best thing that he can do really at this point, is just try to really work down on this encore JJ. He will get that connection onto Ambition as they try to finish him off with a flash away into the dash. Is enough to keep the Lee Sin alive, unless the Prey Seeker can finish him off. Dardoch's looking for it, but it's body blocked by Core JJ, and the piercing arrow will not connect. Now Immortals, can they push in and try to find? Oh! Well, they can find that, I guess. Pobelter going to flash the wall.
Yeah, it was really nice. Can they also get the mid lane target, because they're losing pressure on top? No, Talia's roaming, actually.
Oh, that's going to be Dardoch going to the back line. Ambition dashing forward. And that is going to be a very dead Rek'Sai. So biting off a bit more than he can chew. Just wanted to interrupt the curtain call, but instead loses his life for it. Immortals, they won't even be able to pick up this tower.
And Talia did roam. Did stop Talia from just taking in the turret, so gonna have to look for the small victories, I guess, Immortals in this point. They are now almost 5,000 gold behind. Still, very much in the game at 22 minutes compared to the last series.
Yep. They delay the back there on Ambition, so they'll keep him sticking around for a little while longer. But Immortals really need to transition into some objectives. 5,000 gold lead, if they can pick up some turrets, that would shrink it pretty considerably. But it doesn't solve the problem of, you know, being behind so many items, particularly at, you know, for their AD carry.
Trying to turn this into effectively a siege comp. It's called JJ with a nice flash. You know, they're just trying to poke with the Orianna and take turrets, but with otherwise melee champions, Zyra excluded, and just the pressure of Weaver's wall, Lee Sin flank, the Maokai flank. Immortals seem at a bit of a loss as to what to do, and this is just the reality of 3 turrets and some globals being down on the side of Immortals, and just the Weaver's wall being available for Samsung. There's just so little room for there to move, and just so much chance for Samsung to look for the flank.
Yeah. Meanwhile, just the eternal wet noodle fight happening in the top lane. Blame and QV not going to be getting a whole lot done in that 1v1.
Don't worry, the observers will learn. Top lane is no longer a thing to look at. We didn't look at it when it was Renekton versus Shyvana. We shouldn't look at it now.
Oh boy, Ole get rooted down, and bullet time plus ambition equals death. Zyra will fall yet again. And now they're going to be looking for Cody.
First one
hits. He's going to flash away. Weaver's wall won't be able to cut him off. He still takes that 4th shot, goes pretty low. Mission's going to use the Dragon's Rage onto Dardoch. Roots him with the Deadly Flourish. He goes low, but the shields are there from Pobelter, as well as the Colossus. So he is relatively safe as he exits, but still another pick coming through. But it's not enough for Samsung to push in and take that tier 2.
So look at the timing though, Achilles. It is just as Drake is about to spawn. I'll put down a control ward. Spot it out. It will be free Ocean Drake over to Samsung.
Not the worst thing to concede if you're the Immortals squad. Looks like they actually
teleporting.
They want to make a fight here. The TP coming through, but Dardoch's already low. I would cancel that one if I was you, Flame. No, he's going to full channel that. Gets a nice Keeper's Verdict. Isn't enough to keep Dardoch alive. He's going to try to roam out. The Deadly Flourish looks like it's not enough to finish him off. And QV going on a solo mission in the back line, trying to kill the Varus, but he's not able to do so. He falls. Pobelter finds the killing blow. And meanwhile, Ruler was able to finish off Dardoch in the end. So 1-for-1. Jungler for top. But the Ocean Drake does go over to Samsung.
Seems like both QV and Dardoch were a bit disconnected from the needs of their teams. So the one thing you can say is the teleport being completed means that the moment that QV moves forward, he's never going to get any help. There's no way to move past the meat shield that is Flame at this point in time, so QV ends up being all on his own in the backline.
He really invested for that one. Flash and heal.
So still pretty even, but Samsung, most importantly, does pick up the objective.
So it's good for them, but Immortals are still struggling a bit. Haven't been able to take a single turret in this game. Still at the 25-minute mark, but the game's still going, so that's an upswing from the first game for them.
The Vision hasn't been able to put down aggressive enough for, say, the Talia to roam down. Also, Talia needs to push up the minion wave in bot. Baron isn't a realistic objective right now. Worth noting they did have the triple Mountain Drake in the previous game that made any objective, whether it was turrets or taking things like Baron, pretty trivial. So without those extra variables, game pace is a bit slower here from Samsung, which does give Immortals a bit of breathing room.
Yeah, if they could just, maintain some vision, make sure that they can test around Baron, they might be okay. Crown gonna come in here on the Weaver's wall. Dardoch pops him up, takes a Sonic Wave. And the Ambition going in. Dardoch down to about half HP, gets into the back line, uses the Dragon's Rage to just finish off Cody. And now Ole, one more auto attack will do it. The Wall Stun comes in, he tries to pop himself away. But here comes Crown, there it is, threaded volley, enough to finish him off for JJ, using the bullet time just in case. And the bot lane of Immortals goes down. And now Samsung going to be looking for this tier 2 in mid.
Yeah, big fan of the Weaver's wall. We'll see a replay, but was optimistic. He knew he'd take a turret shot and get off it early because any damage while riding the Weaver's wall does dismount you. But the wall was positioned in a way that multiple carries had nowhere to go. The squishies went down. Now Samsung continues their map pressure. That was the chance to push in things. They steal away a blue buff. They get a really aggressive ward, you can see just above where Poppy's recalling. We're going to see the replay. The damage actually forces the dismount, but the wall was in a great position. Suddenly Cody's son has nowhere really to run, and all the line and AoE skill shots on the side of Samsung are so much more predictable when permanent terrain stops the Varus from having somewhere safe to go.
Yeah, I mean, all of that damage was completely sniped down by that current call and the Deadly Flourish, and just really set up for Ambition to just swoop in and take away the kill. Which has kind of been the case for this entire game. It's just Ambition just going in and finalizing things for his squad. Dardoch will get a blue buff takeaway to answer that of Samsung's, but will be nearly as punishing as he goes onto the Rek'Sai and not onto somebody like Probelter.
Crown's already level 16. Has a blue buff already because, of course, stole away the enemy blue. So the fact that Orianna didn't pick up a blue is the true story in that trade.
Oh boy, here we go. It all comes down to this, the bushwhack tactic, but not going to find anything. Dardoch reveals himself a little too early, and Samsung, they were kind of questioning that area of the map anyway, so I don't know if they would have fallen for that one. Looks like Ruler's just going to go ahead, pop the curtain call, clear out the wave, get some damage in onto the Immortals squad, try to dissuade them from pushing in onto that turret, and look at that, it worked.
Now, Immortals just basically have to stop Maokai in bot lane with TP and Talia just free pushing top, because then they're just going to lose by attrition. The mid lane crew has decent wave clear, not amazing, so they can look for a big Orianna engage. Orianna does have the death cap, so Immortals are kind of being forced and corralled into engaging while behind.
Dark wave connected, but Darlock was there for the unburrow.
And that's kind of the risk, right, Achilles? If you're ahead and you can force the enemy to basically have no choice but to engage with a gold disadvantage, then you're pretty much playing smart League of Legends.
Yeah. Oh, nice ward thrown down. Spot it. Dardoch gets the red buff. Ambition not going to be able to steal away this time, but Weaver's Wall thrown out, not going to cut off Dardoch. It does cut off Probelter. He's going to go low bullet time, still chipping him down. Cube free to stand underneath that turret for ages if he really wants to. Looks like he will be able to walk away with a kill on the Dardoch. Cube will pay for that one with his life, though, and it crucially goes over to Cody's son, who really needs that gold. Flame coming in on the back line with the flank. Has that TP used out.
And Guardian Angel as
well.
He can make a big
engage. JJ knocks him up in the air with the Keeper's Verdict. The piercing arrow not going to connect. And now Ambition finds Ole. Goes back in with a Sonic Wave. The Resonating Strike takes him down. Ruler able to help him out. Finalizes that kill. Sonic Wave. Ambition just styling on him. Takes out Probelter. And that is going to be Cody's head. Able to at least avenge the death of his mid laner. But the rest of his team is falling around him. Flame, the last one to go down, and they only find 2 kills for 4.
And Ruler did have his ult interrupted by Flame coming back from the Guardian Angel, but still, Guardian Angel's now down. A lot of that effective gold spent on that item is now wasted. Samsung, that time the Weaver's Wall, you're like, I don't know about this one, but you can tell how much they practiced with the Talia, because Cube understood, well, okay, Probelter is completely separated from his team, nowhere for him to go. They engaged onto the Orianna, who, kind of skipped around the backline as much as she could, but just in general, the fact that the carries were so disconnected from Flame is that this was a really nice teleport from Flame, but basically everyone that tried to come in to profit off what was a nice flank from the Poppy ended up getting assassinated.
That's got to be a bit frustrating if you're Immortals. Weren't able to find a kill on a ruler in the end. Dardoch trying his damnedest to close the distance, use the Void Rush and everything, but couldn't find it.
To me, the big what-if here is that the Syndra ban on red side.
Boy. Oh, hold that thought. Weaver's wall coming in. Dardoch gonna jump on the crown. They have that corrupting arrow out, but Ambition coming around the side, jumps right onto the Varus, and now Ole nowhere to go, flashing away, just trying to get away from the Lee Sin, but there's no hope here. He will fall yet again. And now that's about a 8,000 gold lead for Samsung. You were saying?
Yeah, I mean, the strength of Taliyah in this meta is so on display. Achilles, if you draft the Varus, if you draft the Ashe, if you draft the Jhin, walls behind you, your flash is down, you're dead. And just to finish my point, I suppose JJ just decides to suicide. To finish my point, that ban of Syndra was kind of a nothing ban. They've been banning Syndra on blue and red. Have Samsung, you don't necessarily respect Crown as a top Syndra player. That ban could have been Lee Sin, who's kind of had a field day in both games. I guess it could have been the Taliyah. I wouldn't ban Taliyah just because, again, it was the one game and it's not a pick that's respected, although now we're seeing it for a second time. Clearly, it's a strategy that's been practiced, and future opponents may have to ban the Taliyah in the knockout stage. If we get there, Samsung's one win away, but Immortals, Desperation Baron time.
Yeah, this is the NA Baron coming through. Ambition is going to be pretty close to close in here. Juve channeling the teleport, has to come in from the top lane. It's going low. Ambition will get ejected. That should be the Baron going over, and it is. But can Immortals make it out alive? Flame has to wrap around. Dardoch going to try to delay, so Pobelter can make it out, but he's not able to get the channel in time, and now Dardoch is going to fall, so two members going down.
Oh, baby!
Thrown out, but here comes Crown, jumping straight into the face of Ole. The exhaust is there. Can they trade it back? They do. Cody-san finds the kill, but now he is at risk of going down. Flame here to try to gatekeep for Ambition. He can't dash out the safety, and there it is. The piercing arrow flies straight and true. Gets the kill, and that is going to be a 3 for 2 so far, plus the Baron. Honestly, a pretty damn good trade if you're Immortals. Juve not going to be able to do anything to get through that Poppy, but now they might actually... I don't think they're going to lose that tier 2, but they actually lose Cody-san. Core JJ finishing them off with the bullet time, and now the tier 2 is certainly going to go down.
And try and get more Cody-san somehow with the optimistic bullet time enough to take down. Sorry, it was Core JJ with the optimistic bullet time was enough to take down Cody-san, and it was a really hard fight to really assess. It was very long.
Yeah, this was all over the place.
I mean, this was actually, you called it NA Baron, and given the stage of the game, I understood where you're coming from there, but they actually rushed it down. Flame is on point with the Keeper's verdict, and they were able to take it. And even if it's for 2 kills, given where they were at the game, it's actually pretty happy times for Immortals. I like the Weaver's wall. Ambition's kind of curious here, because he's, I guess, out of range of W, and then tunnels on killing the enemy instead. I think he could have just been a bit more defensive around the Taliyah, but regardless, bit of trading. They do end up, after all of this, taking down the inner turret.
Where does he go to die?
Well, basically, he recalls somewhere he shouldn't.
Oh, he walks... Instead of walking up around, he walks through the base gate instead.
He didn't expect to take 600 damage, but such is support. And, of course, I am intimating to you, Achilles, the inverted commas there.
The support with a Black Cleaver and Immortal Reminder.
I thought for a second he had the Infinity Edge. I was like, wait. But then I was like, no, okay, Black Cleaver still. Black Cleaver Mortal Reminder is still plenty of damage.
Yeah. Just that AoE, deny on the heals, the mortal wounds is gotta be so irksome if you're Immortals. But Cody-san's finally been able to put some kills on the board. It's definitely helping him claw back into this game. Has low Dominic's cards completed, as well as the Mana Mute finally at 34 minutes. Not even a Muramana yet, though. So not sure how far off he is from that. But this is going to hit that point where the Varus won't be able to do much as far as chip damage goes. Ambition is getting tankier, has a Guardian Angel getting ready to come through. Cube already has his Guardian Angel, plus a Sunfire and a Frozen Heart, so he's pretty well set. No one's getting through him.
Yeah, whatever you say about the lethality scaling, once you've got the 4th armor item, you know that it's a bridge too far to do any damage to the Maokai.
Yeah, just tack on a Thorn Mail for good measure. Cube going to go in though, jumps onto Pobelter, the Weaver's Wall, cutting them off. Lucian's going to go low, actually gets popped. Dardoch finds the killing bolt with the Shockwave, really doing the work. Pobelter not going to get taken down by that bullet time, gets the shield back up in time to keep himself alive. That's going to be a kill coming through as they take out Core JJ, but Pobelter is now dead and Cody-san is low on the back line. They jump on the Flame, looks like he might go down, lose that Guardian Angel. Dardoch comes to the front lines, he's going to get popped. His Crown finishes him off with a threaded body volley. Guardian Angel is popped. And with nowhere to go, Flame's going to have to flash the wall. Will he make it out alive? Looks like he may just do that. Throws up the Keeper's Verdict, will toss it out, but Crown going to juke it, but can't get in to finalize the kill. 2 for 2. Immortals still can't get a turret.
They're clawing their way back. 7,000 gold was enough for Snowballs at 20 minutes in the previous game. In this game, you can see with smart engages, Ambition's not that tanky. And, of course, the support Misfortune's not tanky at all. It was a nice idea with the Weaver's Wall, but Orianna still does good damage. Ambition dies in the AoE. But the big story here is that Cuvée is already at that unkillable position, and that even when Core JJ and Ambition go down, Cuvée is enough to acquire targets and take free hits from the enemy AD carry and allow Crown and Ruler to run around and kill people left, right, and center.
Yeah, Cuvée is really giving me spring flashbacks with this Maokai performance, just not dying. I mean, they get the Guardian Angel at least, so that's going to be a massive cooldown to have up for the Maokai. But he's still relatively unkillable. And oh boy, Pobelter.
No flash.
Yep. Just too far forward, no tier 2 tower. Weaver's Wall to cut him off their flash. He will go down. And that is going to be a major factor in Samsung being able to push forward and look for this inhibitor here.
We're in a Ghost meta, but Ghost offers nothing against the Weaver's Wall.
Oh, Dardoch getting shoved in. And he is going to go down as well. Crown showing a mastery of this champion. Now looking for Ole, who's up into the front lines, flashes away. They will get Crown to pin to the wall, but that's going to be the curtain call, finishing off Ole. Now 3 members of Immortals gone. It's just Cody, Sun, and Flame trying to hold on for dear life. 40 seconds on Dardoch, 40 on Ole. They will get the inhibitor. Looks like Samsung aren't going to stick around for more.
There's so much AoE pain. There's always space for one of Crown or Ruler to put out consistent damage, to take down turrets, to get an inhibitor as well. Remember, Achilles, we still haven't seen that outer ring of turrets taken down. Our observer was kind enough to show us about 10% health in some of the lanes, about 1% health in bot. But that's still standing gold that Immortals haven't been able to pick up.
Yep. Samsung looking for the Infernal Drake, or Elder Drake rather, will be able to get that one out. Ambition, of course, going to smite it away. So there will be a double buff coming through. Mountain and Ocean, the only ones getting amplified.
The intriguing thing is that you take those 3 outer turrets out, and suddenly, you know, the gold lead's only about 5,000. At this point, it's grown. It's coming close to the 10,000 mark, but quite a lot of standing gold in those 5 turrets. Sure, there are other variables, but this game is not as far away from Immortals swinging it back as it might look on paper, though again we have to talk about the fact that Varus AD carry really isn't going to determine the game in the late game.
Yeah, it's been really rough here. We can see sometime in the last 4 minutes of Muramana was able to come through for Cody's Sun, so you know, record late on that. Got the Dust Blade completed, so will do a bit of damage, but he's still just not really going to be able to get through Cuvée, who's just going to be up in his face on the Maokai.
Yeah, a question I have, and it's not one that's going to be answered by this tournament, but going forward, is that the Rylai's nerf, of course, comes in 624. Rylai's is important on so many champions. Victor and the Talia we're seeing here.
Yeah.
A lot of Crown's champion pool, a lot of most people's champion pool. So will that actually impact the champion pool coming into the 2017 season? It's a question for another day, but see another champion snowballing with the Rylai's, and I wonder what's going to change in a few patches' time.
Well, certainly a lot, but for now, what's not changing is Samsung continuing to press his advantage. Cuvée, you can see, takes a bit there from that dissonance, but overall, it's going to be perfectly fine. Dardoch going to have to make his way out of here, but he is a pretty tanky Rek'Sai, so I don't think he's going to be in much danger. Sonic Wave connects, but there's no way in hell Ambition takes that one, even with his Guardian Angel finally completed.
Got that mid lane inhibitor down, though. They're just looking for ways to grow a lead. All this poking is to try and set up for Baron, which Samsung goes straight towards.
There's wards there. Well, Ambition not quite going to get the blast cone into the pit as he would have liked, but or maybe just taking that one out so no one from Immortals can use it to get in.
That was the thought process there.
Dardoch, can he get close enough? Doesn't look likely. Smite comes through, and that's going to be Baron going over to Samsung. Keeper's Verdict thrown out. Will go ahead and knock away Ruler. Pretty crucial there. Still has a long range engage, as well as a Deadly Flourish as he disconnect that one onto Flame. From the W, get that move speed and wonder his way out of there. Sonic Wave onto Dardoch. TP coming through from Cuvée. Nice hold there by Ambition, but Dardoch has the tunnel systems set up so he can make it out safely. And looks like Flame, he'll be able to recall on the backside, but Samsung now with Baron. An open inhibitor, a downed inhibitor in the mid lane
And a
of
fresh
Immortals.
shopping
They can
trip.
take a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, it's a fresh shopping trip as well, so they're going to come back cashed up, and everyone on the side of Immortals is still smarting. They're still far enough behind in gold that it's probably going to be a scenario like we saw in the last game. Samsung have been so smart with this Talia in particular to throw Talia in one lane, the Maokai would teleport in another. Obviously, won't be able to do that for a few minutes given that Q-Vase teleports on cooldown. But playing the map and then forcing Immortals with a big gold disadvantage to engage is kind of the lose-lose from the side of Immortals, or the win-win from the side of Samsung. So probably only a couple moments away from another scenario like that being forced.
Yep. A little rough spot here. These Immortals, with how low those turrets are, you know, we just haven't been able to see them push past the mid lane mark in quite some time. Current Call going to open up, trying to get some damage down onto the members of Immortals and have them push in, take this inhibitor turret out. See Weaver's Wall being thrown out, Dardoch on the other side of it. He can burrow out, but the turret goes down, cutting off the rest of the team. Jumping arrow thrown out. We'll find Ambition, but they can't get any damage, and he still has a Guardian Angel. Two bases come back up as well. And now this, you know, one fight here could just lead to Samsung winning this best of 3.
Almost certainly they're bringing in 2 minion
Flame coming in the back. He's going to inject poor JJ out with the Keeper's Verdict. It's a hell of a lot of damage. You can see that crit coming through from Ruler. 668 damage to the Poppy. Even with how tanky she is, that final crit shot does quite a bit of damage from the Jhin. Full time thrown out. Dardoch not going to take much off that, but it's enough for them to go in and get that inhibitor. And you can see Dardoch, he wants to come in, but he's just not able to do so. Shield will come through the redemption. Gonna do a whole lot to finish him off, but Samsung, they are just knocking down the base. Looks like they're gonna rotate over to this top side of the map. Ambition already moving forward to clear out the minions. And they are just bleeding out Immortals.
And we're at the stage now where they actually do lack a ball carrier that can engage as hard as they want. The Rek'Sai's getting denied by all the zones.
Yeah, I mean, look at these hits coming through. Dardoch, he's just going to go down, absolutely decimated by Crown and Ruler. Nice seismic shove to deny him exiting with the tunnel. Yeah, Ambition going to push forward. You have to think this is going to be the end of the game. Third inhibitor about to fall. Baron-empowered minions coming into the base. Some of them going to be super creeps. And Immortals just look really lost here. Sonic Wave on the Pobelter, doesn't want to follow through with that one. They find Ambition pinned to the wall. Looks like they will be able to take out his Guardian Angel, but look at the Nexus Towers. They're just going to get shattered by Ruler.
Back off from Ambition, looking to end the game.
Yep, Bodhisattva gets jumped on. He's going to go down. Ambition finding another kill. The Keeper's Verdict not going to send them very far, and just like that, a 2-0 going to be coming through for Samsung. Definitely waking up after that first game of the day. And they will walk away with this victory. They are on to the Stadium Days on Friday.
Now we can be excited about Samsung. We started the day being like, Samsung, and then we're like, Samsung? But now we can be happy about Samsung again. And I think Immortals fans should keep their high expectations. We'll see Immortals once more today. They will play the winner of our next match between J-Team and Vega Squadron. They looked outclassed in the last game, but over the course of the series, they didn't look tiers away from Samsung. They looked like a team that was still getting to it. They're still gelling. There's still a lot of time, a long season ahead of these 5 men. They weren't on Samsung's level, but that's not something to hold against them.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, you know, you're talking about the second place team at Worlds, a squad that has been together for a while, and then, you know, an Immortals roster that has just been pieced together, within a matter of the last few days. So definitely nothing to, get disheartened about. They still have another chance when they play that elimination match against the victor of the losers match that is coming up next. So Immortals definitely not out of contention for the Stadium Days in Goya.
And 2 more best of 3, so we'll be Vega Squadron look very good against Samsung. Coming up against J-Team, it looked pretty woeful, you'd have to say, against Immortals.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it'd be pretty tantalizing to see Immortals versus Vega Squadron, especially if Vega Squadron can put J-Team to the sword.
Yeah, I think that might just be the matchup that we end up with, but we're going to go to a break here. And when we come back, we will have our losers match with Vega Squadron versus the J-Team.
One team will be eliminated right after this.
Loser of that goes home. We'll be back in just a few.